Prepare for potential rooftops and vehicles to simulate how a biological attack sulfide from planes, rooftops, and vehicles to simulate across the U.S. and Canada. Spraying zinc cadmium sulfide from planes,
rooftops. Planes and rooftops, boss. Planes and rooftops, boss.
Cadmium is another heavy metal dangerous like lead. Cadmium is another heavy metal dangerous like lead.
They knew way back then that cadmium was dangerous, man. This is 15 years ago. This only got 232 views. 34, that's 432 backwards, man. I guess it was just for us, huh?
Cadmium is another heavy metal dangerous like lead, but while mandatory standards, maximum limits are in place regarding lead, just this week we learned that when it comes to cadmium, the government is going to try to let the industry police itself.
They already decided to let them do whatever the hell they wanted to do 15 years ago. They was already spraying it, and people were concerned it was more dangerous than lead poisoning. And they said, we're going to let them police themselves.
McDonald's recalled 12 million Shrek glasses in June. The designs contained cadmium. This jewelry was also recently recalled because it too...
McDonald's put the cadmium on the toys. What kind of meat are they serving?
Contained cadmium. Same goes for this jewelry and this stuff. Cadmium is a cheap, unregulated alternative to lead.
Children's developing bodies are vulnerable to damage from lead and cadmium exposure over the...
They was putting cadmium... Come on, man. Hold on, let me get that back. Are they saying cadmium was literally on these cups, man?
Police itself. McDonald's recalled 12 million Shrek glasses in June. The designs contained cadmium.
You think they contained the Dragon Slayer cadmium on accident at McDonald's? Or were they giving poisoning to the children, man?
This jewelry was also recently recalled because it too contained cadmium.
This cheap jewelry, wherever they finding it, has cadmium. No one's thinking that you're wearing the Dragon Slayer.
Same goes for this jewelry and this stuff. Wow. Cadmium is a cheap, unregulated alternative to lead.
Children's developing bodies are vulnerable to damage from lead and cadmium.
So they hit the kids with the cadmium. These people are truly whites, man. Man, to stop us from seeing clearly, they must be really white, man. You are dealing with demons, Ka. This is sick. This is sick in the I would say spirit, but they don't have the being.
And cadmium exposure over the long term poses health risks to adults.
It can cause damage to kidneys and bones. While Congress and the consumer...
So they're telling you got kidney failure because of some alcohol. Nah, they've been poisoning your kidneys with cadmium, your bones, osteoporosis, you know what I mean? Like, they're attacking your bones, your brain, your heart. They're attacking your thoughts. They're giving you fake Mashiachs, telling you to go through the sun and get to the Father and worship on a Sunday. Ain't no scripture in the whole Bible say worship on no Sunday. Who are you following? They give you all kind of missionaries and then take your land. They've done everything they could possibly do. By the time the third eye dragon come, and I got my popcorn now, I will be reacting, man.
Consumer Product Safety Commission have already imposed mandatory limits on lead in children's toys and jewelry. Just this week, we learned the CPSC will not do the same with cadmium, at least for now. Instead, they've given guidance about what scientists have determined to be an acceptable level of cadmium, and they're hoping the industry will use those guidelines and police themselves. Wow. A representative from the CPSC tells Action News the law requires them to give the Voluntary Standards Organization first crack at setting standards, but that the commission can still push for recalls and institute mandatory limits in the future if the commission deems necessary. But keep in mind, even with mandatory lead levels in place, products slip through, like this book and belts recalled this year because of high lead levels. With the help of an outside lab, our partners at Consumer Reports tested more than 30 children's and household products that testers suspected might contain heavy metals.
Most of the products did not contain potentially hazardous levels of lead or cadmium, but 2 were of particular concern.
This cell phone charm from Claire's had very high levels of lead, levels that could be hazardous if it's swallowed by a child. And 2 Kidorable Bumblebee raincoats purchased late last year had worrisome levels of lead as well. Kidorable says it has reformulated the raincoats and they're
Okay. My brother say they were experimenting on, and the whole point of, you know what I'm saying, what they're calling the Holocaust, and you know what I mean, of course we got the American Holocaust as well, right? The genocide, the invasion. Do I gotta read Doom Verses again? 1452 Papal Bull. Invade, search out. What happens when you do all that? Genocide, right? So we're talking about war crimes, boss. All agree, however, that certain basic principles must be observed in order to satisfy morale, ethic, and legal concepts. This is how you're supposed to conduct yourself if you don't want to be guilty of a war crime, which we already know America's been at war, 93% of the time. 100% against the same people. War crimes is what this corporation do, War crimes against the Shikwamaga for the first 20 years since 1776. War crimes continuing with the Babar. We're going to talk Babari and the Swan Knights and the Black Swan event, right? The Kumse War, war crime. All this was them claiming they land, fighting the hijack, fighting their own brothers who were siding with the hijack for a promise of land, for a promise of whatever this treaty says. More Indian wars. It seems like those same copper-colored Nagas found here, the same dragons that they're trying to keep asleep, male or female. I'm just talking about the same, basic Americans who are the Khans. But since they're asleep, somebody took the Khan, the priesthood. The natives, which is produced by nature, which is the works of the Creator, HaWah, the originals, the Copper Khans, who they now call black and say they came off boats from Africa when they really were just found here, boss. And here they are, before they were reclassified. Look up the Dred Scott, look up all that, right? So, come on. They've been at war against the same people, even in Mexico, even in the Philippines. Banana wars, come on, boss. World War II, all this is still against Nagas in Vietnam. Nagas, dragons, Nagas. Dropping bombs on dragon lairs. Look up what the indigenous Filipino and Mexicans look like. Afro-Mexicans, they want to call them today. These are originals. The Babars, we're going to talk Babars. They've been at war, my nigga, while we've been asleep. On our head bone. But now the book is being unsealed. In the end of days, eternal shalom is coming. Rest is coming. Rest will appear. Health will descend in a dew. So just like they've been spraying us with this unhealthy dew, witch's brew, our health will descend in dew to vanquish all illnesses caused by this hijack, and our noggins will be raised up again. Many who sleep will awake, so don't trip on the ones we lost, because they coming back to everlasting life. And the ones that was on that hijack to shame and everlasting contempt.